You're like a smug chipmunk.
Warming up.
You prep the video for later.
Yeah, I have to kill my audio. Monitor. Switching on the monitor. Okay, I can see it on Facebook.
Yep, yep. Yep, 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 yep.
We're sharing now manually to our mailing list. Oh, interesting. Our preview in Illinois is a title screen.
Every now and then that happens.
YouTube is running.
We're just link spamming. One moment, ladies and gentlemen. Self promotion is hard, yo.
Okay. Visuals are running. Monitor shows everything's okay. Yeah.
Okay, should be ready. So we'll just give time for people to join because it's a live stream. But then if you're watching the recorded version of this in the future, you can probably skip forward a minute or two while we wait.
Well, maybe you should link to mark skip point. There's a way to do that, right?
Yeah, I'd have to edit at least on YouTube, I'd have to edit the YouTube video so that there's a skip.
Why is there this expansion?
Yeah, I remember that. I just never
It's gonna be hard
found
to find.
it. It's hard to find. Yes.
I shall big for that.
I'll take a quick peek. But yeah, it's been a long time since I thought about it. Like, but I know, I remember.
Yeah, I think we looked at it. I think we saw this in the portal website.
Yeah, and then we were hoping to catch it in a local store.
Or were we hoping to see an English version? Because I think the version we saw was in English.
Is possible. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this is like phased out now. It's been out for a while. We only have the port expansion. Port shuffle, sorry.
Starting very soon.
Yep, I'm going to have to rely on your formidable abilities to find it. If ever.
Wala na siya sa part outside.
Yeah, it's aged out. Look at Board Game Geek Market. Some guy's offering it in like, what is that, France? 12 days ago. €10 lang.
Yeah, it's not available in Noble
Netherlands.
Knights either. Sadness.
There are like people on eBay who are selling it as a bundle.
I'm available to support that.
Oh, is it? Did I just look at the US store?
This is, well, it's Poland.
Mm-mm. Pero sa shop mismo when I searched, wala. That's why I should search, not the website.
Maybe when you click buy it, errors what?
Yeah.
Sad.
Hey Jed, we're about to start. Lamenting that we don't have the expansion for this game. Oh, it's on. No. We're looking for the expansion.
This is okay. It's gonna be tricky. I'll see if I can find it.
Maybe the one where you got Kalis. Canales.
Yeah. I already checked there. Wala.
Wala rin sa miniature. It's okay. It's okay. If we find it, we find it. If we don't, we don't. It's no problem.
How strange. I tried Target and it says they get their board games from Noble Knight Games, which is the other place I normally go. Sad. And then if you go eBay, which is always scary,
Yeah, it's the bundles.
you can never trust eBay. Everyone's selling the base game.
Yeah, the base is the one that really got around. I didn't really see a lot of the expansion. So that was our mistake. Like we were hoping it would stop locally. Because in 2016, that was the time like, a lot of stuff was just appearing locally then we didn't have to order direct so much.
Yeah. Anyway, disappointments are part of life, and I guess that means we should just start the episode.
Okay, I will get us rolling. One moment.
Oh yeah! Baduy Pride!
Hello, everyone. This is Toby.
And this is Rocky.
And if it's your first time here, welcome to Baduy Pride, a little space on the internet where we talk about anything we want.
It is completely unscripted and not entirely accurate, but at least it's honest. Join us. We talk about everything and anything random live.
And if it's not your first time here, thank you so much for joining us again. This Monday, we're talking about a board game, and that is
Rattle, Battle, Grab the Loot, which apparently is highly reflective. Okay.
Yeah, our lighting does not help.
Yeah, this is and to not to bury the lead or anything, but so this is yet another Portal game. We own most Portal games that have ever been released, and this is one I know I backed or I supported directly to get. And it's a charming little pirate themed family dice rolling game is what I will call it, but we can dig into the official description in a bit. But why are we talking about a dice rolling game, Toby? Explain the premise of this week.
It's quite a jump. So when we were planning out our episodes for this week, we realized Friday is Friday the 13th.
Bum, bum, bum.
And with that, we realized all about bad luck and good luck would be a good topic for Friday, which then led to finding any way we could make every topic this week connect to luck.
Yeah, so I don't know if we can as firmly call it like what we did with Dune Week, where everything was kind of more directly Dune related. Today we're just like, it's a lot of luck chance, inconsistency, whatever.
Pushing your luck, fortune related stuff, and in this case, a board game wherein the treasures you gather, the things you buy, and the way you develop your ship can determine how lucky you'll be while at sea.
Yeah. So and this is one of the interesting like original games that Portal came out with. I
Mhm.
mean, I say that in the sense that there are a lot of games that sort of fit the same family, like Imperial Settlers and oh my God, what's the other one?
Empire?
Empires of the North. No,
Mhm.
but even to some degree, Alien Artifacts and the other one, the post-apocalyptic one, 51st State.
Yes.
All share like a similar system at its base.
Mhm.
Whereas Rattle Battle was a completely different game system versus everything else, and I was kind of excited about it.
And Rattle Battle Grab the Loot. You build your crew, you build your interesting ships, and then you go on adventures. And these adventures have you rattling the dice, battling it out with other players, and hopefully grabbing loot. Because when you grab loot, it's from a bag. And if you're unlucky, like me, even if you win, you lose.
So, but yeah, quite literally, the name of the game describes the gameplay of the game. Although there are very specific things about certain aspects of it, and we'll get into it in a bit. But essentially, every turn is the dice are not rolled but dropped.
Mhm.
Then the NPC ships sort of perform actions. Then the player ships get to do stuff, which is battling, and then the survivors who manage to destroy things will get to.
The game system used dice rolling, measurement, which you normally see only in miniature wargaming. It allows you to have different powers. It allows you to manage your economy. But then there's a push your luck. Well, not really push your luck, but a lucky mechanism of drawing the treasures you want to treasure. Um, let's open the box and see.
So the first thing that's notable about Rattle Battle is that you have to take everything out though. Is that the main box is also quote unquote the board,
Oh, okay.
because it is where you roll, which where you drop the dice in. Okay, and oh no, things have escaped. Yeah, but yeah, I like this only because I like this mechanic only because this we saw something similar. We will see something similar later on in the roll and write version of Imperial Settlers, which you roll dice into the lid of the box instead of the base.
Okay, wait, I have to pull everything out first.
Yeah,
because
and
you opted to talk about the last thing.
I'm so sorry, but it's important. We super planned this out. Obviously, we're amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So the inside, I thought it was the lid. Admittedly, I forgot it was the base. But the inside of the box, and I'll have to tilt it. But there's like little art on the edges. There's a summary of the adventure turn, and then a reminder on strength. And then there's a little X here in case you need to position stuff. But all the action happens in this box,
Mhm.
and um, how that all maps out is stuff we're gonna have to go through in the process of the game. The
So
game
there-
has a lot of components.
So there's a lot of components to represent the different parts of the ship that you will create. As you can see, we still keep them on the boards because the boards have artwork that we don't want to throw away. Look at that.
Yeah, that's the pro and con of the. I was like looking at it now. Oh yeah, that's why we kept the
Roar
lighting.
and poof and arr.
super cute.
These
super
different parts of the ship, such as this, allow you to then determine as you build your ship, or if they are parts that have been damaged, you flip them over to show the other side. The game has you playing different captains, each captain, of course, being represented by a player color. And in true Portal Games fashion, they're reversible to
Yep.
show.
Guy or girl,
Yes.
so that there's there is a gender presenting option for everyone. Okay. So how does your turn go? And I think I'll need to. Oh, this is like the interesting part. All right. So, in terms of like your scenario, the way the game runs is that it divides things into 5 rounds, and then each round you're going to have to resolve a certain number of scenario cards, and those scenario cards will determine how difficult it is to, uh, you know, to deal with things. There's going to be unique win conditions for the battle, and then what the rewards are. Okay.
Mhm.
Depending on it's really just depending on sequence. Admittedly, and I know it's a little early to talk about this, but then like if you look at how many scenarios, the number of cards you go through, it's a lot. The game on the box. Where's the lid? Sorry. Quick review how they rate the game. They say it is 45 to 90 minutes. So I think that's about accurate. If you're playing a full 4 to 5 player game, it can last a while. It can last a while because there's just so much going on. But basically, throughout the game, you'll start by revealing an adventure card, and the adventure will uh, have a little name, maybe a bit of a story. It'll indicate what dice need to be there and in what configuration, if ever, if there's a fixed configuration. It will mention certain actions that the NPC dice are gonna take. So this one says volley if you roll the ship icon, and then if it is the cannon icon, it has a strength of 5, and so on and so forth.
So if you're wondering about all the mention of dice, it's because the game is accompanied by a bag of dice. The dice represent the different ships, and the different colors are because they represent each player color. Players have dice of their own color, which represent their own ships. But then there are neutral dice, which are represented by the clear ones,
The translucent ones,
which can
very
represent either neutral ships or enemy ships. The dice faces range from numbers to symbols, some symbols representing volleys of cannons, other symbols representing them escaping from the battlefield. And how they fall and where they fall affects the game, depending on what quest or adventure card is present at that moment.
Yeah, so the sort of first player in this case is called the Baron, and typically the Baron is the most, quote unquote, the most dangerous because he has the most money, but he is also the most targeted.
Mhm.
And then the Baron will resolve the adventure, set up the adventure for the round, and then we'll take all the dice that don't need to be placed on fixed locations of the board, hold them about a foot or so above the board, together with all the player ship dice, and then just lets them go. And this is the ship drop, which is
Mhm.
like the main rattle portion. The manual specifically reminds you not to roll the dice into the box because that's gonna bounce. So
Mhm.
it is just a drop, and how it scatters will determine sort of the play field for the round.
Because depending on the adventure, the enemy ships might attack the closest ship, which means if your dice are closer to that one, bad news for you. Other dice explode, and when they explode, they destroy automatically a number of ships that are closest to them, equal to their number.
It literally blows up.
So if you happen to be among those ships too close to that exploding die, you lose your ships in that adventure. Then there are those that allow you, if you navigate correctly, the chance to either board your opponents or destroy them, earning you extra loot. So a large part of the game is knowing, well, hoping the dice fall in the right place, then knowing what to do afterwards.
So just going over some of the captions on these cards, because mostly it's just the picture of the dice, and you think there's not going a lot going on these cards.
Mhm.
But Portal Games, true to its board games telling stories like sort of motto, then you have things like a sea trip. Nobles want to experience the sea life. We should give them a lesson. And you'll notice that the focus of the card symbols, which is hard to show on camera, but both the left and the right side will indicate if a ship icon appears, ships are going to escape. If a cannon icon appears, ships are going to escape. So because they're just a bunch of nobles who wandered out into sea, they don't want to stay around.
Different cards show different dice come into play, and different effects happen as the combat happens.
Yeah, but these are like the sort of the green and the purple ones. There's these funny ones, which is the brown ones, which I'll just flash a few of them, but they look very different. I have to super tilt, but yeah, this way. But they're mini games. They're all just mini games of different things, which kind of give you more entertainment value in the middle.
Some
which
mini
is
games
funny.
have you all rolling furiously to try to be the first one to complete a certain set of numbers. Other mini games have you almost playing other games entirely.
Oh my god, you remember this one? Cannonade!
Mhm.
Taste my cannonballs. Do you like it? Do you like it? I know you do. And this one, the Baron drops the dice, starting with the player with the lowest victory points. They can fire one of their cannons in any direction with unlimited range and sink all ships in the line. And then whoever survives gets treasure. So these are the funny brown ones are just oh my god. They really add another dimension to the game.
Now, the game has other cards in play from different treasures, which, depending on the order you get them, you can get extra points on how much you've invested, to crew members, which offer different powers and abilities if you happen to be the first one to grab them. But most interestingly, are the new special powers from Big Bertha that allows you to shoot with unlimited range, to the steering wheel that allows you to steer your ships more efficiently. Or maybe you have a parrot that allows you to move neutral ships in any direction of your choosing. These special cards all have corresponding
Cardboard tokens.
cardboard tokens, which then allow you, when you build your ship, to have those special unique parts.
Yeah, and it's so the amount of cardboard in this box is kind of bonkers because you have the front and rear sections of the
Mhm.
5 ship designs, and you're not obliged to use matching ship parts to build your ship. So
Mhm.
you can have the fat lady on the front and the skull on the back and whatever. It's
Mhm.
okay. And then there are masts, there are sails, there are cannons, there are holds, all these things. There are standard parts, and then there's like the fancy parts, uh, and how all this comes together is a lot of fun. And then there are special pieces like islands and other bits that just add to the fun.
And just when you thought that's everything, there's more. We have a bag, and as mentioned, the bag is where we grab loot.
Yay! So if you do survive the rattling and the battling, then it's time to deal with loot. And you grab loot based on different conditions, like the number of loot declared on the adventure card, plus any ships you've destroyed, plus any ships you may have boarded, and boarding is a whole special thing.
Mhm.
Once you get all things, then you all draw, and then you determine what loot you're going to keep. And that comes into play when you go back to port. And this is normally laid out, but different places at the port require different combinations of loot.
Mhm.
For example, the workshop where you can build parts requires red and blue loot. The pit will require the gold or two of the same kind of treasure. Shipyards for more generic stuff only requires blue. And then then the tavern where you recruit crew requires beer and all that. So you're trying to map out what loot to bring home,
Because you can only bring home a limited number of loot.
and the loot is how much you can hold is determined by the ship that you have built so far. So you're gonna start with one hold and one cannon and I think a sail, and then
Yes.
later on you can determine what additional parts you'll
What
make.
upgrades?
Yeah. Will you just do you want to hold a lot of treasure and only have a single cannon? Then sure. Then you can just keep adding holds, and the holds are funny and it's hard to demo. But for every 3 holds that you have, you flip it over and it turns into a hamster hold. I don't know why this is the case, but it's essentially a giant fat hamster stuffed into the space because he can hold 3 loot in one space instead of just one, and all these things. And or do you want to just become super lethal? So I'm gonna have 5 cannons. Or do you want to be super maneuverable? So I have 5 sails. So how you choose to develop your ship is really what will determine the game for you. Not even, and that's not even counting the unique parts, the special parts that you have to draw and see what you're gonna keep.
Just when you thought it was over, it's not, because the game also has metal coins.
Which is ultimately though how you win. So you can get distracted by building your ship and destroying enemy ships in the high seas, but your real goal
Is the
victory points, and the victory
Represented by
points are
coins.
represented by the coins. And you want to get through things as well as you can, that you're the most profitable at the end of the round, and survive the 5 rounds of different adventures. Whether they are the slightly easier green cards, the more dangerous red cards, the bizarre brown cards, and of course the purple final battle. And it's an experience. Okay, I like how the cards really do help you steer a story, and it makes it a lot of fun. I feel bad at the moment that we don't have the Angry Ocean expansion, which introduced additional dice. My gosh, how could I have lost track of this? But at least we have Port Scuffle somewhere, which just adds additional things to do in the port.
I believe that's right.
Yes, it's 4 more spaces. Okay, oops, and this should go back in its bag later on. All right. What else can you? So Toby, as someone who is notoriously unlucky for these things, for any games that happen to involve dice, what are your thoughts or reflections on Rattle Battle Grab the Loot?
So I find Rattle Battle to be one of those games where you just really play to have fun.
Yes.
While you can be very tactical and serious about it, the game itself reminds you it's meant to be a quirky, comical type of game.
And that's reinforced from the design itself. Just look at the art for things. It's very light. It's very cheerful. So yes, definitely that. And then what else, Toby?
Um, the fact you can dress up your ship in any way you want, depending on the parts you get. You can wackily have them in different positions, even if they're not realistic, because it doesn't matter. The parts are there to help you keep track of when they're exhausted or when they are active. So there's a lot of fun in the game to just do crazy things, to try dumb moments, or to even see how far you can push things and hope that you actually are lucky enough to win. Um, all in all, it's a good, fun game. And even if I'm the worst guy who always draws the wrong thing in the bag when I try to, I still enjoy this game.
The game is rated for ages 8 and up. Would you say it's a family game?
I think so. I do caution that it does have small parts, so I think I'd still keep this at like 10 and up rather than 8 and up.
Okay.
But I do feel this is the type of game wherein you could be playing with your kids and just having a fun of a time laughing at what's happening. It's not as vicious as Munchkin or King of Tokyo, wherein
Yes.
you're literally attacking each other. Because in many instances here, while you might have instances where you attack each other, there are also a lot of instances where you're all trying to just do what you have to survive the adventure.
Yeah, you're more focused on the sort of NPC ships, more than anything else.
I think the challenge though here is that there is some measuring involved, and
Oh,
that
yes.
can be
I was about to talk about
frustrating
that.
for some kids.
Um, one thing we did not get to stress, and I'll just pull out a card. Little known fact is that the game has 2 distances, which is short and long. There is an official measuring device as part of the cardboard components in the game. It's on some of the baseboards, but technically there are only 2 distances in the game, which is short and long. Short is the equivalent of the top of a card. Long is the equivalent of the length of a card, and that that decision was so smart, because whether it's a crew card or a special part card or treasure that you have, after at least the first round, everybody's bound to have a card. So you don't necessarily even have to wait for the measuring device, because you can just use a card to figure out distance. And you're probably going to have occasional arguments about whose ship is really the closest to the exploding one and all these things, and that's fine. It's all part of the charm.
The game also comes with a deck of cards that acts as your tutorial scenario. So when you are still learning to play it, you use that set and you get all of the basic rules very easily.
And then there were like some scenario based stuff. There are additional tokens that on their own mean nothing, but for
Mhm.
people who have played Robinson Crusoe, you know that scenario specific. Then based on the manual, they will tell us what they're gonna be based on the.
There are also
things
cardboard tokens that you place on the board before you drop the dice, everything representing islands, monsters, whirlpools, and more.
Yeah, so definitely a lot of fun. I think then the only sort of balancing act is that because it is very likely that depending on luck, after the first round alone, a player is going to come out on top and may have a significant lead in terms of points. But the rule is, yes, that player becomes the Baron and that he is the first player. But in a lot of the ship actions, if they have a choice of movement, they will move towards the Baron.
Yes.
So it feels sort of like they're punishing the lead player, but it's a
It helps
balancing
balance it out.
element so that other players can still catch up.
It's a built-in catch-up mechanism in the game that it makes the Baron have a harder time so the other players can catch up.
Mm-hmm. Mitch likes our shirts and then remembers and says she enjoyed playing this game and likes the use of the box, and I do too. I love it's hard on our camera setup, but the whole thing is lined with very delightful pirate themed art that is consistent. I mean, if you look at the art on the box, it's a lot of that whimsical style and super adorable. So I super appreciate that. Yes. Um, and the as much as there are dice, I guess it's not a lot of like uh because I guess you're not rolling, then you don't really feel like it's that's the core mechanic. The ship drop is the ship drop. And yes, the number that is on your die will help determine like your strength for certain challenges and the like, depending on the scenario. Um, but beyond it, it's really just like, I'll just look at the sprawl and then I'll decide. We're gonna decide how it's gonna go and see how it happens. And it becomes a sort of each round, each adventure card really is a little puzzle that you're all facing in the board and trying to decide what will be my action that's going to change things. And since your actions are determined by your ship parts, then that's another like layer of strategy where I'm all equipped for cannons, then I should be killing things. But even if I kill a lot of things, will I have enough hold space to bring the treasure back? Or is this scenario super focusing on speed? Then oh no, do I have enough sails to move? And then you're kind of stuck for the scenario you're in, but it's gonna shape your decisions in the future. And I appreciate that because a good pirate learns from their experiences in the sea. Um, yeah, but I think that's like the bulk of it. I don't know. I don't think there's anything we can say about strategy. I don't think it's that. It's quite that kind of a game. I don't know. What do you think?
I think part of the strategy here is to pay attention to what's available. When certain crew members are available, they can be invaluable in how they help you later in the game. So don't ignore them because any crew member you don't get, others then are taking advantage of. Pay attention as well to the fact that certain parts do refresh when you visit the port. So try to maximize the usefulness of these parts by using them while you're out, knowing they'll be usable again after you go to the
Oh,
port.
that's super true. Like if you go back to the port and then like none of your cannons were used for some reason,
That's a
then
wasted.
yeah,
that's
you
a
may have wasted
chance.
your actions there because then you could have destroyed ships, which would get you more treasure, in the long run and help you to victory in the game. Um, yeah, and I guess don't lose sight that it's a fun game. It's a very fun light game. I think my only sort of complaint caveat is still that it does feel a bit long. Like I think it could have. I don't know if there's a short version where you can just end on the third round or something. Because the 5 rounds of like 10, 12 adventures is a lot. Is a lot to go through. And I know it can get draggy. The brown cards though help balance that out because typically they're just crazy and they're super fun.
I think we all want more brown card moments.
Yeah. So and then as much as as much as the box comes with like the official scenario layout, I don't think anything is stopping you from mixing, matching, and creating your own sort of combination for things. And there are certainly enough components, even in just the base game alone, to allow for that flexibility for you. Especially if you're playing with younger players, then maybe you'll kind of lean more green, or even just have an entirely brown round. I don't know. There are a lot of possibilities. um, oh, and then Mitch is like, yeah, it's a game where you can't move the box. Well, you got to be precise about these things. Try not to hit the box. Yes, we've had a few accidental. I don't know. The entire game state changes and the ship just bounce around. Um, oh, I guess my last thing is that uh, uh, it's like never wrong to have crewmen. It's never wrong to have special parts. It's hard to find like quote unquote optimal strategies that make a use of both because you're always limited by what's available in the market. And then even when it comes to the special parts, it's super luck of the draw.
Yeah.
Like what you're gonna get. So then like you're hoping for a super awesome mega cannon, and then I'm gonna get the super hold, which okay, it's not bad. I have it too, and it will still be helpful, but it may not be what you're looking for. I don't think. Yeah, we have no other questions.
So don't ignore the treasures. They're a quick way to gather up victory points while others are focused on other things.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can grab them, grab them. And then last, I guess, would be just keep in mind that this is meant to be a fun game. It's not as tactically intimidating and ugly production as Empires at Sea. It's not as serious and cutthroat as Seafall,
Oof.
but it is still a fun romp into being a pirate. I think the only real thing I miss that is not here in this game is the idea that you can trade with other islands and this and that. But maybe that was in Port Scuffle or something, and maybe we just didn't see it. I do wish there was a scenario or a campaign mode that you could explore wherein you try to work with just a single ship and you develop it as you go through the scenarios until at the end of the scenario you now have the best ship ever. But I guess the closest we have to that is the main game. Although sometimes the main game can feel very random. So
Yeah,
a
yeah.
scenario, a campaign would have been fun.
Because then like you'll have the nobles and then the escort mission, and then suddenly we're attacking the port. It's like, okay, we'll do that because you said so.
And then I guess to close for me, I feel this is a game that loses its charm if it ever became digital. A large part of the fun is building your ship tactically, physically by literally finding where you want to put the parts, even if they don't make sense. Dropping the dice, and then that forever argument of measuring and stuff, where people are bending and looking at the angles and they're trying to turn the box without moving things. And no, you're nearer. No, you're nearer, and it's just fun.
I know it always gets crazy when you have things that like let you shoot several distances. So it's like too long distances or too short distances. Then you have people maneuvering multiple cards and like, I think I'm gonna make it. I think I'm gonna make it. Oh my god. Oh my god. So yeah, it's definitely a conversation piece. I feel bad that it obviously was not as popular as hoped. And that's why it's like you don't see it around as much. And oh man, I'm now we're gonna never stop looking for the expansion. I don't know what we're gonna do to find Angry Ocean. If anyone watching has a lead for Angry Ocean, or you're willing to sell us your copy of Angry Ocean,
I'll find out.
message us. Let us know.
But yeah,
We can make a deal. Arr.
I guess that's it for this episode on.
Rattle, battle, grab the loot.
We hope you had fun because we did, and we hope you'll join us again next time.
Mishra, who's the game developer? It's an Ignazi game, Portal Games.
Yeah, so this is short there.
Yeah, but it's the Portal. It's another Portal Games release, and then the credit is Ignazi. So it's man, that guy he comes up with crazy stuff. All right. So for questions or suggestions for future episodes, fill up the Google form at bit.ly Baduy Pride Ideas. Oops, that's not that. That was this. And then you can follow us on Twitter, Altobi No Shade, RG Sunico.
You can also check out our blog, baduypride.com, for all the previous episodes and stuff about us.
Feel free to continue the conversation in the comments below and let us know what you thought about Rattle Battle Grab the Loot. Have you seen it in the wild? Have you had a chance to play it? Share your stories with us. And be sure to subscribe for notifications, whether on Facebook or YouTube, so you don't miss our next live stream. Once again, I'm Rocky.
And I'm Toby.
And this is
Baduy
Baduy
Pride.
Good night, everyone. Aha.